They're some of the best-known faces on the planet. We see movie stars everywhere, but do we know what they're really like? Film premieres like this are the closest that most of us will ever get to the big stars. And if we do get a glimpse of them, normally they come across very well, of course. Shiny, happy, smiley. Now, I'm sure that Arnie, Bruce, Dustin, Sly and the rest of them are very nice people. But just say they weren't. Would we ever know about it? Well, the best way to find out is to interview one. Or is it? Sometimes interviews only let you know what the star wants you to know.
Well, I like doing what I'm doing.
Doesn't mean I'm going to tell you.
As Baz Bamig Boy knows well, he says what he thinks and he's paid the price.
There's an actor called Val Kilmer who was recently Batman. He's going to play the Saint, but we know he's no saint. And I despise Val Kilmer, and I've said so. And I know that I will never, ever now get an interview with him or anyone else that his publicist in Los Angeles represents.
The classic and the one that sticks in my mind is Robert De Niro at the time when I was interviewing him about Goodfellas. I wanted to get some information. I wasn't trying to stir the pot or anything at all, but De Niro thought I was. And at the end of the interview, he said, "You had to get that last one in, didn't you?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "You know what I'm talking about." And he walked out of the room. And by this time, I was really cross because all this time had been wasted. So I followed him out, fuming, and said, "What is your problem?" And he turned to me and said, "You know what my problem is." And so we were standing there nose to nose, snarling at each other like a couple of schoolboys in the playground.
You have to negotiate for months and months and months and months. I remember years ago I did an interview with Warren Beatty when he was making Reds in England, and I think I wrote to him about a dozen times at Pinewood over the period of about 4 months before I got access to him, and I talked to him for 2 hours. It was all unusable, but that's by the by, because he's not the world's greatest sort of personality interview.
But which star were we going to interview? Time for an office conference. I got down to it with Aisling from the team. So who's in town then?
Sylvester Stallone, promoting his latest film.
She would be excellent.
Goldie Hawn.
Good, it'd be nice to get her.
Another Glenn Close, 101 Dalmatians premiere.
Would she do it, do you think?
Might do. Or another option is Madonna. She's here for the Evita premiere.
Now, she would be very good to interview. But would she talk to us?
Well, we can try.
Yeah, don't ask, don't get. We did ask, and we did get. Before the interview with Madonna, though, time for more advice.
We went to Paris to do an interview with her. And she kept us hanging around for an hour and 40 minutes. And I was steaming mad by the time her PR woman turned up and said, "I don't think I want to bring my artiste into all this hostility." And went off. And I said, "Well, don't bother, because I'm not going to be here."
Barry Norman got off lightly. This was the day of the interview, and by now I'd been waiting almost 3 hours. My time's not as precious as his, though, so I stayed. They're two broadcasters from around the world. The lady on my left told me she was huge in Hungary. Hundreds wanted interviews, 11 got one. We were 9th on the list. Finally, time for my 7 minutes with Madonna.
How's this going to work?
Before I could be brought before her, though, a few seconds for the assistants to assist.
That's a very personal question.
Then some last-minute adjustments.
Come on, Madonna, this is Jonathan Maitland from the BBC.
Hello, Madonna.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Number 9, I think.
That's what number you are?
Well,
Is this my 9th interview?
I think so, yes.
Really, it seems like
The
100.
same 7 minutes over and over again.
Have you written the questions on your hand? That's so sweet.
They're a visual prompt, just in case.
That's what I do.
Yeah?
Yeah, when I sing. A lot of times when I don't want to forget the order, I write it on my hands.
One thing not on anyone's hand, though, another essential tip on interviewing stars.
They are under pressure from the studio, or whoever is selling the film, to give an interview that will sell the film. And therefore, they will try and tie every interview into their role in the film and make out that they're as much like the character in the film as possible.
I suppose it's obvious we have a lot of things in common. We both came from small towns, and we, moved to the big city, and, I don't know, worked really hard and realized our dreams.
Your image has been sort of, quite raunchy up until now. Do you think...
I don't think so.
don't you?
I hate that word, raunchy.
Raunchy. How would you describe it?
I think that I've done some very controversial things, but I don't think that I'm raunchy.
Well, what do you think? Often, though, what fans really want to know about is the personal stuff. Madonna's now a mother, but she's rarely talked publicly about whether she's getting hitched to her baby's father. You going to get married?
No.
Do you think it matters?
I'm not sure how I feel about marriage. It's a very complicated question.
But there's been quite a debate about it in America, hasn't there?
Whether I should get married or not? Well, it's really no one's business.
How do you plan to cope with getting mature?
You can say getting older.
Is that right?
Yes. I haven't really thought about it. I mean, I do lots of things. I'm not just an actress, and I think I can write songs till I'm 80.
So, what's she really like? Well, it's pretty hard to tell in 7 minutes, but to be fair, she did answer questions that other stars wouldn't even let you ask. But then again, there's a difference between what stars are really like and what they want you to think they're like. And other stories we'll be featuring are The Tale of Hello magazine, The Star, and The Mantelpiece That Won't Go Away. How not to get into the movies, companies that say they'll get you film work but don't. And the true story behind the saddest song ever written.